I was really shocked on Thursday when I saw some horrendous mistakes being made on the road. When will people learn? Today, I'm going to be looking not only at this mistakes, which I saw over and over again, which I caught on my dash cam, but also discussing other mistakes too and problems and how you can avoid them happening to you. The big one I saw today also involved a transporter camper van, and it actually looked like a licorice oil sort. I'll give you a clue. Yes, it was snowing. Firstly, a problem which I've seen already people saying they've got an issue with, and that is a flat battery. The first cold spell of this winter, and people are already starting to suffer. Batteries don't last forever, but with good maintenance you can actually extend the life of them. If your campervan isn't a daily driver, if it isn't being regularly used, then a battery optimizer could be very beneficial for you. This is there to ensure that the battery is kept in the best shape possible all the time. If you watch some of the YouTube channels, such as the people who've got the supercars, Shmee150, etc., or Sam from Behind the Glass, or Seen Through Glass, they've always using these C-Tech chargers. The vehicles which they're not using, they've got plugged in to ensure that the batteries don't go flat, and it keeps the battery in tip-top shape the best it possibly can. Back in my motorbike days when I used to have a bike which I didn't use regularly, I had one hardwired in. Get the wires and you actually fit them in there, so basically when you actually put the bike in your garage, all you do is attach it together with a clip thing and it starts to charge. And that's what you can do with the camper vans. You can actually have them hardwired in. Very, very easy to do, to be honest with you. And consideration also needs to be taken for your leisure battery, but this is extremely dependent on what actual setup you've got. Everybody's setup and electrical configuration is going to be different. All the systems do have the different nuances. The principles are effectively the same. If you've got a good charger, a good optimizer for your leisure battery, then you can effectively just hook up and make sure that that battery is kept in optimal shape. And a second problem, which I've seen again today, people questioning heaters. They're already having problems with the heaters. The first cold spell of the year, they need to crank that heating up and it's not working. It's got error codes, it's got faults. Obviously, it's a little bit late now, but have they been run within the manufacturer's instructions, the recommendations which the manufacturer has? They all specify different things, but a lot of them will say that every month they need to be run for 30 minutes on maximum load, which obviously in summer when it's in the late 20s, 30 degrees heat, you're not pretty much going to want to do, but you need to do it to keep it in tip-top shape. And also, what about the servicing of it? Have you had it serviced? Some of them do need servicing, so it's something which you should have really looked at. But the problem might not actually be with the heater itself. It might be with the gas installation or the electrical installation. Have you had these checked? A van moves around, it vibrates quite a lot, and those cables can come loose from the connections. Parts can come away because of the vibration, they can vibrate themselves away. So have you had a check? It's worth having an annual check. Some might call it a habitation check, a bit like your vehicle itself. The mechanical parts of it have an MOT and a service to make sure that it is obviously safe as far as the MOT is concerned, and it's running the best it can as far as the service is concerned. But what about the actual habitation side of the van? The gas, the electrics, the other bits and pieces like that, has that been checked? Making sure that they are running and are, again, extremely safe. It really is worth actually checking that out. And the third problem, again, seen with my own eyes already after, well, it's now actually 2 or 3 days of the winter period, but skidding on ice. I've seen cars skidding on ice. Now, I did do a full video on tyres. It was actually last year. I shall link towards that at the end. But the tyres have different compounds. You've obviously got your summer tyre, which, let's face it, a lot of us will be on. But you've got an all-season tyre, which you can, as it says, use all year round. And then you've got a winter tyre. And obviously a winter tyre is going to be far better for those wintry conditions. Now, the summer tyre doesn't operate as effective as it should do below 7 degrees. But as I say, have a look at my video because I do talk about that a lot more there. But do remember that if you are going away this winter, in certain countries in Europe, it is actually a legal requirement that your vehicle is fitted with winter tyres. Often can be overlooked, and it isn't very good if it is, because they are winter tyres requirement for a specific reason. But this next problem was one I actually got caught out with myself. And no, it's not a major problem, but that is de-icing the windscreen. in the morning you just want to open the door of your vehicle, get in it and just drive away. But if you've got an iced up frosted windscreen, then you're not able to do so. And there's a couple of things which you can do here. Now, if I'm prepared, if I've actually looked at the forecast and I know that the mercury is going to be plummeting and the temperatures are getting cold and there could potentially be ice forming on that windscreen, then I'll use the thermal cover which I've got. Yes, I do use this a lot in the summer because it's fantastic to make sure that the sun's rays don't get in the vehicle and really heat it up. But it's also fantastic in the winter too, because I can put it on the windscreen and it can protect the windscreen from that ice forming. The ice doesn't form on the windscreen when it's there, and I can just get in. No, I can't. I have to take the cover off and get in and drive away. I don't have to mess around with actually the defrosting of it. It's really quite good. A very simple and effective way of doing it. But there's other things you can do, and that's if you've got a diesel heater or a gas heater. If you are aware that actually it has frozen up a bit, just stick that heater on a few minutes before you go out, and then not only are you going to have a clear windscreen so you can just drive away, but it's also going to be nice and toasty and warm as well, so you're going to be driving away in the comfort as well, rather than me when I had to de-ice the windscreen and then actually get in and I was still cold because I didn't know diesel heater or gas heater to actually warm me up. Next van will have a gas diesel heater, definitely. Not fitted one to my combi van. Pretty much done a lot of other things to it, but one thing which I haven't got is a heater. But on my camper van, you might have seen that I am considering getting another van in my last video, but that will definitely will have a diesel heater or a gas heater. And the next thing is the washer jets of the vehicle as well. Now, if you're the sort of driver who just sticks water in the summer without putting any of the chemicals in, well, now's probably the time to actually reconsider that and put something else in. Now, I use a couple of different products. One, I use Rain-X, and I tend to use this all year round. I mean, this is a product which is already diluted, so effectively I just put it in there and it says it's effectively to minus 20 degrees. And to be honest with you, not really had any problems with it. But what I do in the winter, when the temperature does really drop, I've started putting this in, the Auto Glim Ultimate. Now this, depending on the concentrate which you get it down to, is minus 45 degrees. So not really expecting it to get that low here, but obviously it is a bit of extra protection. So I just put a bit of capfuls of that in on top of the Rain-X. I'm not sure whether you're meant to do that. So I put some of that in and it's good for me. Can squirt them windscreens and it can get rid of the ice if I forgot to put my cover on. I'm not going to forget doing that again. But as well as de-icing our vans, the roads need de-icing as well. And this is what happens. Obviously the gritting lorries are out at this time of year, or they certainly will be now that it's actually started to get colder. So the grit lorries are obviously gritting, or road salt as some people calling it, and that is actually very corrosive for our vehicles. Not something which we really want to be keeping on there for a long period of time. When I talked before about the tyres, some people do have a separate set of alloy wheels with the winter tyres, so they can have a summer tyre for the summer and a winter tyre for the winter. And that winter tyre is generally a smaller wheel, and the alloy isn't as expensive because it is corrosive, this road salt. So it's a really good idea to make sure that you're keeping your vans clean as possible. And I'm not going to dwell too much on that today because I do actually have a couple of videos coming on that soon. So do watch out for that. But yeah, you do need to make sure that you keep your vehicle as clean as possible. Keep giving it maintenance washes to get rid of all that dirt and grime off it. Not only does it look a lot better, but it'll also protect it in the long run as well. Moving on now to another question which has been raised a lot, and that's the prevention of condensation. Condensation at this time of year definitely is a problem which some people suffer from. Now, if you're getting condensation in your vehicle and you're not actually sleeping in it, then you might actually have more of a problem, because that obviously indicates that there could well be a lot of moisture in the vehicle. Have you got a leak? Have you not sealed your roof bars properly and water's coming in? Or perhaps you need a couple of new door seals, something which I need myself. If you're not actually camping in it and you've got that moisture inside the vehicle, then yeah, you might be looking at other ways. But if you are sleeping in your vehicle and you've got that condensation, then there's certainly things which you can do. Now, one of them is just as simple as lowering your windows, because what you need is very, very good ventilation. So obviously lowering your windows will help with that. Now the Heco wind deflectors, which you'd put on your windows, will actually shield any rain which could potentially be dripping inside your vehicle. So you can crank your windows down a little bit, but then the rain will just drop off the wind deflectors and drop below. So something you can do at the rear of your vehicle is the tailgate vent lock. So the tailgate vent lock essentially keeps the tailgate open by, well, it depends on what size vent lock you get, but it'll keep it open so you've got that airflow. Something else which you've got, and that could be for the sliding windows in the back, and that is the Transporter HQ. I've got a couple of them, grills which you can put on there. So again, that provides some more flow. And something which not a lot of people know, the pop top it should always be up in habitation mode. And there's a sticker on these NCC approved vans which does actually stipulate that if the van is in habitation mode, then the pop top needs to be raised. And at the top of the pop top, if you look up, there's actually a vent. Now that vent should be opened up, which will allow airflow even better. So taking in all these different measures, that is definitely going to help with that condensation, because prevention is definitely better than the cure. But the cure can actually be quite cool if you've got one of the Karcher window suction back things. Brilliant for getting condensation off, but you don't want it there in the first place. And if you've got your thermal cover on the windscreen, then you shouldn't really be getting very much at all. So lots of measures there to limit the condensation which you might get in your van. But if you are getting condensation, then it could potentially lead to another problem, and that problem is mould. Now mould can form, and if you park your vehicle up for a reasonable length of time, you're not actually using it, you might start seeing some mould appearing on the seats and the seat belts, on the rear seats, your soft furnishings, etc. So it's not ideal. So you want to be keeping that airflow, and ideally, if you can be taking out your soft furnishings, your pillows, your cushions, your duvets and things like that, your bed sheets, take them out. If you're not going to be using the vehicle, just take them out because you don't need them anyway. But it's not just those bits that suffer mould, it's your fridge as well. You need to keep your fridge open. Get, again, airflow, ventilation is the key in it, and do make sure that it's clean first. You want to make sure that you've got all any little loose crumbs or any debris out of there first. But yeah, a lot of them come with little plastic catches so you can actually have it open, or stick a tin of beans or a bottle of whatever in there just to make sure that that door doesn't close. Not obviously whilst you're driving it, but make sure that you've got that good ventilation to prevent mould forming in there. And your pop top as well. Your pop top can also suffer from mould, because if you don't have that roof open and that ventilation vent open in the top, then obviously that moisture's going up, but it isn't actually going to go anywhere. Yeah, you might have the mesh, but a lot of people tend to kind of keep all that closed in winter because they want to keep warm. But actually, it's a really good idea to keep that open to help it ventilate. So it's a really good idea, again, if you're not using it especially, to crack that pop top open every now and again and just give it a good wipe down. Make sure you've got all the moisture out of it, because you don't want to be having mould forming on it. It's not a good look, and it's certainly not very healthy. We're nearly there, but another one is the water tank. Now, yeah, it is great to always have water in the vehicle so we can have a brew or whatever we want whilst we're out and about. But if you're not going to be using it for long periods of time, then you want to be making sure that you drain that water, get that water out of there, and also when you are going to be using it again, use some form of cleansing. I know a lot of people use Milton and put that through the system to give it a good clean out, or you've got Purely clean tabs and things like that. Just make sure that you use something to get it out, because again, mould can form in there. So make sure that it's clean. If you're not using it, completely drain it, and remember, when you are going to use it again, make sure you give it a good clean first. Get that water flowing through after you've put some kind of cleaning fluid in there, to make sure that you're not going to be picking up any nasty, horrible things. Anyway, onto a major problem. A problem I see every single year. A problem that could be easily avoided. A problem I've actually seen happen. Look at these. They have decided to start the journey without clearing the roof. Look, like I said, this licorice Allsort, they've got a white van with a black pop top with snow on the top. It's just unbelievable. Obviously, whilst that vehicle is moving, inside the vehicle is warming up, and it's going to actually loosen that top layer of the roof, which means that it's going to be melting the ice or the snow which is there on top of it. So that snow on top becomes loose. So when you actually brake, that flies off. And where does it go? Yeah, forward on top of your windscreen. And if it comes off in a big lump, it's going to come down like that. And I can't see now. I can't see because I've got snow in front of my eyes. I'm going to crash. Bang. And that's what happens. I've actually seen it happen. Not physically seen a crash happen, but I've seen somebody have to slam the brakes and end up in a different part of the road because they've slammed it on. But I do know of claims that have happened to it. It is a big problem. It's not difficult to clear the roof of your vehicles. I saw absolutely loads of them today, and that's what gave me the idea for this video. I didn't record all the ones which I saw on the early part of the journey, but I twigged actually that'd be a really good idea to actually make sure that I do a video on that so somebody can learn, somebody who might not think, actually, yeah, that might catch me out. And I do give the benefit of the doubt for a lot of people who live down here. I mean, I'm down here in Devon and Cornwall. We don't see snow an awful lot. Now, obviously, I'm from up north where we used to see it all the time. So it's kind of something which I'd learned at a very young age of my driving experience. Make sure you clear the roof. Make sure you clear the lights so you can actually see. And again, for a transporter, the transporter standard headlights aren't very good. So actually having snow on those or ice or whatever it is, dirt and grime covering them up, it's really not going to help the brightness of the lights. So make sure you not only clear the roof, but you also clear the lights as well so you can see. And that's not only the front, but also the rear, because you want to make sure that people can actually see your lights at the back. Let's prevent these problems from happening. Spread the word to people who might not be aware of these simple things. You know, we've all got to learn somewhere. And if you didn't know about that, then fantastic. This video has done a good job because obviously you're going to remember it from now on. So thanks for watching, guys. If you haven't seen the video of the best camper vans at the show, you can have a look at that here. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you soon.